What's up, party people? We're back. My name is Sunny Ray. It's the Sunny Ray Show. Thanks again to our sponsor, Raz Rocket. Today I'm joined by Johan. Johan, how's it going today, buddy?
Really good, man. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for checking me in. I'm from Australia, from Melbourne. So it's great to connect with someone from the other side of the world. And that's something that I love doing what I do, man. It's great, man. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
I've traveled extensively, but never been to Australia. So that's definitely on my list of places that I'd like to go,
You're welcome. You're
Yes.
welcome.
But
You're
isn't it
welcome.
crazy that you're sitting in Australia? I'm in Canada. We just had like the nastiest snowstorm, like 50 centimeter. My entire car is buried in snow right now. Yet, to the magic of the internet, here we are. We're talking. Yeah, we're talking about
And we're the opposite.
right. And you're the opposite. What is it, like plus 50 down there?
It's like 44 degrees, but that's in
Oh,
Australian weather. So we're like extreme weather. So you're in snow. I'm in t-shirt and shorts literally because it's already 8 o'clock and it's absolutely steaming here. But thanks again, man. It's just great that we can connect through this, right? It's amazing, isn't it?
yeah. So I have like a bunch of questions I want to ask you, mainly
Please.
because sales has been near and dear to my heart for almost two decades.
Nice.
Oh my God, I feel so old saying that, but very true nonetheless. And it's been integral, yeah. Like whether it be having sales roles in robotics back in the day, whether it be starting my own businesses, and I mean, even to just today alone, like we're always selling. I guess your main business is you help B2B salespeople, right? You leverage AI in your workflows and whatnot, but you
Yeah.
help B2B salespeople become successful. So that's we're going to dive into that and then your business around that. But before we do, I always like to begin with, the context, kind of like what your background is, what's your story, born and raised in Australia, or tell us a little bit about kind of your
Yeah,
worldview
look,
before getting into AI and all this
yeah, I
stuff.
always
Yep.
start with the personal stuff because I want to make it a bit more interesting. I've been
Mhm.
married for 15 years and I haven't implemented AI into my marriage yet, but we'll figure out some sort of workflow. She's not here, so I can say that nice and easy at the moment.
Okay.
I've actually been selling since I was 15. So I'm 41 now. So I started selling more of a necessity, had to make money somehow. I didn't grow up in an environment where we had money. So I was always intrigued by salespeople. They always had that nice car and all those nice things in the background. And straight away, I was fascinated to be pulled into sales. And from there, I started working in supply chain. I think at 23, I was one of the youngest B2B salespeople within the industry back then, quite young. And I just was fascinated by more about what people drove and how much money they made. And I wasn't really passionate about sales, but I was naturally good at sales, if that makes any sense. And then throughout the years, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I treat it as a sport. I'd say that the last 9 years, it's evolved. My career's evolved in sales. We've done a lot of training around, communication, and now we're in the new era where we're having to work with AI. And I'll share how I work with AI within my coaching business. So I essentially help businesses make more money through sales. And yeah, no, if we don't adopt AI, I think a lot of B2B salespeople and businesses are going to get left behind. So I'm trying to push an industry that's very, very bit old school in that regard.
The word sales, even though I have this like infatuation with the idea, it's a bit of a loaded word. You bring it up at a dinner table or something like that. People tend to, not be the most friendliest. Like just so maybe help the listener kind of get through this mental barrier that the truth is we're all selling and we're selling all the time.
Yeah. Sonny, you said you've got kids. You're daily negotiating with your kids every day. I've got a wife when negotiating. I think the sales term, we always align ourselves to a car salesman, right? Or a real estate broker. But the reality is, we're selling every day, whether it's getting a job, you're ordering a coffee, or we're using the sales techniques every day. But I think we just attain it and align it to that sleazy typical salesperson, unfortunately. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change it like yourself, I guess. That's what one of our key missions are in life, right?
Love it. Talk to me a little bit about AI, right? So when did that come into your world kind of view? Was it the ChatGPT thing like many others? Like how long have you been tinkering with this stuff? And where are you on
Mm,
your journey with AI and
good.
as it pertains to sales in your business?
Good question. So, for those who before AI, this is how we used to make phone calls, right? You'd have a sheet of paper and you'd have a list of phone numbers to call. And literally, you do about 30, 40, 50 calls a day, and hopefully, you'll get a couple of appointments, right? But I would say that where it was really evolving was through ChatGPT, to be honest with you. I just saw it and I started playing around with it. And then what I noticed was, I was like, this is going to save me up a lot of time. And the way it saves me time is if I was trying to target a particular industry in a local council or a local city, I could say, hey, chat, can you find me 30 furniture importers, for example, in Melbourne? Right. And it would find me those details. And when I started experimenting with that, I thought, do you know how long that would take me to go onto Google, to write down the name, to do some more research? And I'm like, it's done it in 10 seconds versus a whole day. So that's the way I kind of came over it very accidentally, to be honest with you. I had no purpose in saying I need to do it. But once I had that epiphany moment, I was like, I've got to use it now. I've got to use it.
How are you using it? Like as a
How am I?
Yeah, how are you using AI in your sales stack and your kind of day-to-day workflow? And yeah, just
Yeah.
maybe share some tips on how other salespeople
Yeah,
can leverage it.
I'll share like maybe four practical tips so people
Let's
don't
go
get
for
too
it. Let's go
overwhelmed,
for it.
right? Let's go for it. So, number one, I use it for lead generation, and it's the
Okay.
best tool. I mean, you've got things like Lusher that's got an AI part to it now, where if I'm working with Sunny Ray, it'll start to bring up nice people that are like Sunny Ray. So, it's doing all that hard stacking, targeting for you too. Someone like myself, I'm not really good at copywriting, right? Like, the way that I think I should be writing is not necessarily what the market perceives it. So I use ChatGPT again just to give me some ideas on how to write content that will appeal to a certain market. So I don't need to waste time on thinking. I'm a very creative person. So when I implement both worlds, it's just like atoms exploding, right? The third part is something that we talked about before we jumped on was, salespeople are not necessarily always good with numbers. So if I want to work out my profit margins, the revenues that I'm going to make, and how I can make more revenue, I can look at the numbers through AI. Practically, that's really good for me too. But something that I've been doing really well, Sunny, is I look at my calendar, I analyze it through chat, very, very easy, and I basically tell it the business that I've won, and it kind of really outlines which days I'm doing well, what days I'm not doing well, what clients I'm doing well with, what could I have done better. So now I'm starting to gauge a bit of a profile, not just on my clients, but on myself. So I know like I'm really great at working in the mornings, but not in the afternoons. So you can use it to any ability that you want. It's not just for one thing. That's what I love about AI.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So use it for writing emails, drafting emails, and that's the worst, right? Because like you get into a bit of a what is it called, like writer's block or whatever, and now you've got all these emails you need to send, but you're just stuck and you can't even phrase it properly. Well, ChatGPT helps you get over that. You're using
Yeah,
it for
exactly.
monitoring your calendar, which I think is super smart, right? Giving you feedback in terms of like what works, what doesn't. You're obviously using it for lead gen. And I like your story there as well, right? I mean, now with deep research and all these crazy tools out there, you can really go deep, right? You can do it quickly, and you can uncover all these like golden opportunities with it.
It's so amazing.
Yeah. And then what was your fourth one? Maybe I missed that last one there. So we use it for, oh, I guess for like accounting purposes and identifying like
Yeah, like
margins and
revenue.
revenue. And I don't know. It's got this like I can't help but feel like I'm superhuman when I'm using some of this stuff. I don't know if you have you had a chance to tinker with not Claude, like Claude, but this new thing that the whole internet's like blowing up over this weekend called Claude, like
No, I'll have to.
Clawd.
Wow, no, I never heard of it, so I'll have to look at
Yeah,
it.
their logo is like it's like a lobster, like claw, get it,
Ah,
claws.
okay, I've seen. Yes,
It's
yes.
an
Yeah.
open source project that I just started tinkering with yesterday, and it is insane. It is the
Wow.
closest thing to AGI I've ever experienced. Anyways, check it out. I won't spoil it for you, but I'll send you
Wow,
a link
that's good. I'm gonna have
afterwards.
a look.
It is incredible. So cool. So to tell us a little bit more in terms of your company and like what you actually do, and maybe help us understand also this. Like, not gonna lie, B2B is obviously something that the Valley has been, raving about now for like maybe what, a decade and a half. It's all
Yeah.
been about B2B. Um, Not gonna lie, it's fairly new space for me. I mean, just over the last few years, I've been getting deeper into it. But talk about it. Like, what is it like? Why did you gravitate towards B2B and not B2C? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
good
like, what do you
question.
think about it?
Yeah, so I've done both. And that's the truth. So I think my first sales job was I was selling mobile phones, which was, B2C. And what I realized, and this is for me, so everyone's different. Like everyone is really, really different. So I think I gravitated to B2B because I went for a normal corporate job. And I didn't want to say I had this like big plan. So I fell into that B2B space quite accidentally, if you want to call it. But what I learned straight away in B2B is that you're selling to other businesses. So there's always a need. And I was in supply chain. So I was in an industry that was really growing. I gravitated to making a lot of money. So I knew that the economy in Australia was booming at that time. And that's where I really gravitated to. And I was basically working for a logistics company. So going back to you're saying what I do now is I got out of the logistics industry, and what I started to do was notice how old and how old school the industry is. It hasn't evolved much, right? In Australia, there's maybe two or three sales trainers. So I said, there's such a big niche for me out here, such a big niche. And the other thing that I noticed too is that no one talks about AI in the industry. So when I started implementing basic, and I'm talking like ChatGPT for emails is very basic, people were like exploding their minds, going, "Wow, this is revolutionary to our industry, right?" So B2B is essentially I'm selling a service or a product to another business, and I get organizations that maybe have five, six, seven, eight people who are plateauing in their career. And what I get them to do is essentially work with them in terms of improving their communication. So use AI for all your data research, all your like mundane things that maybe you don't like as a human being. But overall in sales, you need to have great communication skills, right? So I get people to focus on communication skills when they're communicating with me and you. And then in the back end, they can use things like AI not to waste time on things that they don't need to do physically. And that's where I think where my trajectory is actually heading in my life, if that makes any sense.
So let me get this straight. So you're not just a B2B sales trainer, but you're focused on this niche that you obviously have some experience in, right? So
Yeah, definitely.
which is logistics and all of that. So that's interesting, yeah. So what have you how has that journey been? Like in terms of like what's been some of the challenges you faced, and yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
curious, how's that journey going so far?
look, I've been in the industry for 20 years, sorry, 15 years in logistics, so quite a long
Oh
time.
wow. Okay.
And I would say that the last 2 years I was getting frustrated because AI was just coming in and no one wanted to adopt it. And I thought, I can't use it for the company that I'm working for because they had no interest in that back then. And I thought, you know what? There are proactive companies out there who want to learn. So I've had two pathways. Either go out and help businesses, because I love serving people. I love helping people. That's like my true goal in life with the other things that I do, or I can stay working in corporate. The journey has been brilliant. I made more than what I was working for myself in the first year, which I'm proud of, which is very rare. But that's not overnight success as well. That is, success that's been on 15 years of networking, 15 years of working in the industry and developing a name. And now that I'm still working with other freight forwarders and supply chain businesses, I'm also working with people in finance. Now I'm starting to branch out with people in cosmetics. So I'm getting a lot of other industries reaching out because what I like to do is B2B salespeople are not known for using AI. They just typically they get a phone and they call people up. That's how they're typically wired. So I'm doing things a bit different, LinkedIn content, podcasts, just different things. In the States, in Canada, it's massive, but in Australia, we're very reserved. So I've got this great opportunity to go, you know what? Stuff this. I'm going to do something absolutely different that's going to propel me and my team as we grow, if that makes any sense. So it keeps me pumped up, as you can see.
Yeah, so there's this rhetoric now that's pretty widespread that the AI is going to come and replace humans and we're all going to be out of work.
Oh yeah.
I can come up with an argument as to why sales might be the last kind of place to potentially go, just because there's so much of that like human to human interaction that's needed in sales. But do you think about that much? Is that something that comes up in your mind ever? And how does one
Oh,
kind of like hedge themselves or protect against this, outside whatever's risk that we might be facing? Yeah.
okay, I've got two frame of minds. Number one, if the Terminator takes over, if AI completely takes over, I'm like, it is what it is, right? There's not much we can do. But I think in my heart, where we're really heading is that we're going to be doing roles in sales that we don't need a longer do. I think lead generation will change. You've already got like landing pages that you can get designed to attract business, and you can do so many different things. So I think that the sales roles won't be obsolete, but they'll be limited in the capacity of the role that they do. So it might be more that human element that they do, and which kind of mean that the value of a salesperson might go down a bit. So it's very important to pivot. But one thing that B2B sales need is great communication skills. You've got to know how to solve problems, and problems are live. Problems in certain industries need that human interaction. So I think that part will be okay, but I don't think no one is ever safe. I mean, every industry always evolves if you look at history anyway, right? So I think we need to evolve as human beings. Use it to help you get ahead of the pack. So I think if you start using it now, you'll be ahead of your competition. I think if you're not using it, you're already behind. And that's a scary part for some people. So it's the way you look at it. Honestly, that's all it is.
What's your favorite sales book? And do you have a favorite book on AI or maybe a resource or I don't know, YouTube channel
Ooh.
nowadays? I always find myself telling my wife, I'm like, oh, I just read. And then I'm like, I mean, I saw a short about fill in the blank. But yeah, well, you have
Yeah.
like a resource that I don't know that you just find is like super, super helpful.
You know what? I think YouTube, once you type in AI, there's so much information, right? So YouTube is probably my go-to now. But sometimes I'll like put AI and in something that I'm trying to figure out. And then, you'll find a particular podcaster or a blog or something like that around that problem I'm trying to solve, which has been absolutely great. So YouTube is definitely still my go-to. I still communicate to chat about that. ChatGPT will offer you other platforms to use for certain problems. I think it's very transparent, which is great. But in terms of sales, I never read a sales book or anything like that. A lot of my experience came from like learning from people. So I was always fortunate enough to like see people in front of me, but I've read books like The Art of Communication. I think sales, I've always done things on a communication basis. So I'm reading another book which I finished called The Seven Frequencies of Communication. So I've always been obsessed with communication when it comes to sales, not the process itself. Because what I've learned, and this is what I call my business blueprint coaching, is everyone's got their own blueprint when they sell, but communication is the key to selling. If you know how to listen, ask questions, change your tone, break patterns, they're the things that matter in sales, not scripts and dialogues and all that boring stuff.
Before we land this plane, you got any tips on closing?
Just ask for the business.
That's for the business. That's a great place to finish it up. Hey, Johan, why don't you tell us where people can learn more about your company, how they can learn more about you, and how they can just, stay in touch with your frequency.
Yeah, awesome. So you can get me on LinkedIn, just type in Johan Pasala. You can't miss this shiny mind. The other part is you can find me on www.blueprint-coaching.com.au. You can always access me by email. I'm very accessible, so it doesn't matter what time of day it is. My number's everywhere. You can text me, and I'll be happy to give you some tips and help you out where I can. Always happy to be of service to people.
Oh, you're too kind. That was awesome. Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this one to an end. Just hang back for a second, Johan.
Yeah,
Thank
cool.
you all for checking in or tuning in, and till next time.